Have you ever seen an uglier stump? I want to talk about this stump just in case you run into this situation at your house. Let me get a little stick here I can use as a pointer. It's pretty obvious that termites had gotten into this thing at one time. The wood is very soft. I don't know what kind of tree it was. It was similar in consistency to a princess tree. It was so easy to cut through this wood as when I started taking the limbs off of it. It was almost as easy as cutting through balsa. However, beware. Be very wary if you have termites. You see this? That's termite tubes. It's more than tubes. It's a darn termite resort. Show you this trunk. This thing had like 4 trunks that were welded together, and this gray stuff you see in the center, that's packed mud. Every bit of it is sand. And this used to be whole. I couldn't really see this big gap until I broke another part of the trunk off that was covering this gap up. But when I started cutting through it, probably at a height of about 6 feet is when I started having my real problems. Sparks were coming out of there when I had my chainsaw in there. I thought I'd hit a nail or something at first. I totally destroyed 4 saw chains, and that was even after touching them up every 15 or 20 seconds. Yeah, you cut through that stuff, you may as well cut through cinder blocks. Or just take your saw and try and dig a darn foxhole with it. So I had a guy come out and bid on this job. He said he'd do it for $400 and haul the stuff away. I should have taken him up on that. You know, you're paying $15, $20 per saw chain and then losing so much time trying to sharpen them back up. Ended up taking me 2 days of hard work to get it down to this point. And now I don't even know how to finish it. This is so weird shaped. It's just, this belongs in a horror movie. So anyhow, the punchline is this. If you suspect you have termites in your tree that you want to cut down, you might be better off just to hire somebody who has the equipment to haul it away in large lengths. I'm not strong enough to do anything more than, maybe a 2-foot length of this real thick type wood. That's about all I can do to roll that up a ramp into my wheelbarrow. So if you want to ruin a chainsaw chain, I suggest you come on over here and practice on my stump. I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing. Just thought I'd let you know about that. Here's an update on my stump from hell. This is the tree that I thought would be such an easy project. The guy quoted me $400 to take it down, remove it, and cut the stump down to ground level. Boy, oh boy, I sure wish I'd done that. This big hump you see here is sand. And that sand came from inside this stump. You can see how I had to deal with it. I made vertical cuts like I was cutting a piece of pie. And you can see the circumference of this thing. It was a pretty big trunk. And everything inside of this perimeter right here was filled with termite sand, termite tubes, and ants. So between those 2 insects, all it did was spark my saw chain. I thought I was hitting a nail the first time I got into this mess. And this tree, I don't know why I call it singular tree. It looks like this was a cluster, you know what. All these things had grown together in one big bowl. And here I am $125 later as far as saw chains were concerned. Now I'll be able to recover some of that. I'm going to take it down to Clay's Equipment in Raleigh, and the guy says he's got a machine that will completely renovate my saw chains, even though I've been touching them up with a file. He said he can make them new again for $10 a piece. So maybe I'll spend another $75 and save a little bit of money. I've been paying $17 to $20 per saw chain, depending on the type of chain I bought. But anyhow, point is this: if you're going to take a tree down, my advice, drill a hole in that son of a gun and make sure it ain't filled with ant sand and termite tubes. Otherwise, you'll be here till the moon rises again. This is really bad. I got 3 more cuts to make, but I've used up all my chains. I got to get them cut, sharpened again. So I've been taking vertical cuts, and then I go horizontally. Then I get my little garden trowel out, and I scoop more sand out. And once I finish these next 3 cuts, I'm going to call that a done deal as far as the chainsaw goes. Then I'll rent a stump grinder. I think it'll be low enough at that point, especially since I piled all this dirt up around it. It'll be low enough at that point I can put the stump grinder on it, and hopefully within a day I'll have this thing disappeared from my life. Then I'll plant me a Christmas tree. But boy, oh boy, I've cut down dozens of trees. I heat my house in the winter with trees, with wood. I cut the wood from this property right here. There's a tree right behind my house I'm taking down next week. You know, I'm not a lumberjack or anything, but I've had plenty of experience taking trees down. This is something different, and I pray that you never have to deal with something like this. So I hope you keep this in mind next time you decide you're going to run out there one Saturday morning and take care of that old ugly tree that's just growing every which way. Oh my God, look at the trunk. And if it's more than one trunk melded together, you need to call somebody. That's my advice. Good luck. Appreciate you watching this.